Good evening, everybody, and welcome tonight to PSGL F10. It is round 2 here at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, which is it's a track that I enjoy, it's a track that you probably enjoy, it's a track that everyone enjoys, and these drivers, 17 right now, we're expecting 2 more people to join. So just bear that in mind, but we have 17 at the moment of these drivers who will go around this circuit, which most people do enjoy, but some have the tendency not to. I just need to quickly check something. Yep, that's completely fine. And yeah, so let's get this underway, shall we? Let's try and find the first person who is out. It does look like it probably is a Renault, and it is a Renault. That is helpful. So, oh, it's just switched over to Gerbier all of a sudden. Even better. I'm confused now. A Renault came out of the pits, but a Renault is now in the pits. Cheers, game. Helpful. Anyways then, so Gerbier is the second on track because Davey W is the first on track, but we will just have to wait a little bit. So, if you don't know who I am Sam. I am going to be here for the season. I'm going to be your commentator for the season. I was going to be joined by Callum Anderson for the season, but he sadly had to pull out at latest notice. Excuse me there. But Davey W then, he is the first on track. We're still waiting for him to get on the lap, and he's just been overtaken now by the Racing Point, who originally I was going to go on board with. It is Gerbier who is cutting a lot of corners to get there first. Do excuse me if I feel a little bit breathless today. That is particularly down to a certain thing that I have. I can explain it if you ask me, but you don't need to really know. But it shouldn't be too much of an issue. It shouldn't affect anything in any sort of negative light whatsoever. So let's just get this underway then, shall we? Through the first corner then of this track, coming down to the first corner of the track, I should say. 50-meter board, no need to brake, it goes a little bit wide, goes a long wide, and he's already invalidated this lap. Not really a corner I would expect you to understeer into, but we're still just going to keep on board with Gerbier to now. Very tricky section, turn 3, 4, 5, and out the exit of 6. DRS open then onto the straight, and then coming down to I think it's Brooklands here. Again, I'll need to get the track map up. I've literally woke up about half an hour ago, so yep. But Gerbier on this lap looks very scruffy, looks to be getting on the throttle very early on the exit, looking to make up a lot of time here. Obviously, invalidating your lap is not good because you want to set that good banker lap just to make sure you're aware. Don't lift, he's lifted through there. He could have probably taken that a little bit flat out there, but he's decided to back out the lap, it looks like. Going into Maggots and Beckett's, and yeah, it looks almost but certain he just backed out of his lap. And F1's being annoying in the wrong light, which is not great. Let's try and find last week's race winner, Dende. Is he on a lap? Yes, he is on a lap, so that is nice to see. He's come through Maggots and Beckett's now. Very windy, very tricky through these corners off the exit. I think he dabbed a little bit on the grass. That's not really too much of a worry. Some people use that and actually find time because they've got obviously extra space to use. But coming into Stowe corner, very tricky through here, but he looks like he's got it just about fine. Braking at the 100-meter board then, or just after, and into the corner, making it nice and easy. Now one more corner to go. Coming to the line. Dende, what's he going to set? A 24.7. I believe, if I am correct, that's already smashed the F11 pole time, which is brilliant to see nice and early. And Alpha joined the party he's not supposed to. Is there any particular reason? Oh, yep, he's left. That's nice and good to see. But I need to just get the stream up, and I just need to cool down quickly. If you don't know what was going on, the reason I've made a party for the F10, it's just nice and easy for the after thing podium, the after race interview for the podium drivers, so that explains all that. So yeah, apologies if some drivers do make a little bit of a mishap moment and join all of a sudden when they're not supposed to. And wet race to start it, but at the end of it, it should be fine. So interesting, I must say. We had a wet wet race, I think, to start off last week as well. So rain dancing all over F10 at the moment, and we've got Hersey. I'm sorry if I pronounce that terribly. Some names I do often do so, but we've got him on a lap in the Haas then. That's his debut tonight. I haven't seen him for the last 2 weeks, and he's coming through sector 3 here, braking nice and late, and then making the corner nice and comfortably on the exit there. Get on a little bit on the curb there, hit the inside apex, and that's a 25.0, and that's a very clean lap going through sector 3. So I'm just now going to try and find myself the track map, which would be very, very helpful for me. I'm going to just use this one. This is the best probably one that I'm going to get. I don't want to be panicky too much looking for one. Doesn't deserve really my time really to look for entirely, but you know, Marian, I keep getting this wrong. I am so sorry. I'm pretty sure it's roughly pronounced Marian. This will be like a real big sort of link thing to be happening every week, but he was very quick last week, one of the reserve drivers, and almost went on to win the race. Narrowly lost out to TTG Dende. Where does he go? He goes second place behind Dende, funny enough. And looking in the chat, Delta says hey. Oh, hello. And LM48, and that is Lewis Marshall, supported last season's F11 drivers. That is not surprising, of course. Part of the Mon brand who did commentate F11. Sad that they're not doing it this year, but yep. We'll have to see how the two Red Bulls do. One currently in 8th right now. Dino yet to set a lap as well. He's just gone out, so we'll be interested to see how those guys do this season. They've had a bit of an interesting impression, really. The first 2 races that we've had. We had the pre-season race where Black Phoenix looked generally quite quick. I think Dino did as well. And then in Australia, it probably wasn't a race that went to plan for neither of them, but they still brought home a fairly good result. I think they were both in the points, and they were probably the only team to do so as well. But they do sit 6th in the standings, simply because the points they brought home weren't exactly big points, which is obviously a shame for them. But they will be looking to redeem themselves here at a track that people are probably more familiar with than Australia, of course. Australia isn't a track so many people are appealed to be practicing for. As for Britain is a track that a lot of people seem to like. Some people also love to hate as well. So we'll just have to wait and see how these guys do. But Dende at the moment is the benchmark for the time. Special on a lap right now, coming through the final few corners then. And oh, he's got a little bit of wheel spin off the exit there. That's not going to get you any time whatsoever. What time's it going to be though? It's a 26.3, and well, that last bit to go by, it looked fairly scruffy, but we'll have to wait and see. Davey W then, he's got a few more corners to navigate. Let's hope he doesn't invalidate like you seem to do, well, some drivers seem to do, but he's come across the line at 25.0, nice and neat, stops himself into 4th place. Doogie Afroman through sector 2 right now. Is Alpha higher? No, he's not. What about Kieran? Is he higher up? Yes, he is. In fact, I think Kieran is the next one who's going to be across the line for this. So we'll just stick on board with Kieran right now. He's in 16th at the moment. Still yet to set a time, though, remember. So 13th to 17th isn't exactly the representation of their pace, of course, since they haven't set a lap time. So we've got no relevant data to show where they'll be on this track. And oh, Kieran's invalidated it towards the last corner, so he will not be continuing with that lap. Don't remind me of F6 in season 25. That was painful all season. But anyway, do you have Freman in 13th at the moment? Is he going to propel himself upwards? Well, not with that time. He's obviously screwed up somewhere. What about Alpha then? Alpha on a lap right now. He's coming through the final few corners. Looks like a fairly tidy lap. Maybe a little bit off the pace compared to the front runners, but he goes into 11th there. So that is fairly alright. for him. Now we only have 2 people to set a lap. Well, 3 people if you include Doogie Aframan, because I'm 100% sure that is not a representation of the lap time he would be setting today, but who knows. Jack Tyler then, one of the drivers who I would definitely say was a strong contender last week for driver of the day, maybe was driver of the day. Started, I think, down in like P15 after bottling it in quali by obviously sending himself into the wall on medium tyres, which was not helpful last week, and he looked like he had the pace to win, but he finished 3rd in the end, which was still a brilliant result considering he was down in 14th. But Jack Tyler this week, he's up in 6th in quali, and he's already done a lap, so it does seem to show us that he perhaps isn't looking to be one of the favourites when it comes to the qualifying pace and furthermore in the race, but you know, he's an experienced champion, he knows what he's doing, and who knows, maybe we could be seeing Jack Tyler on pole position for the 2nd race of the season. Happy birthday to Nick. Not sure who Nick is. Is he in this session, or is he just a friend of yours? If either way, it doesn't really matter, but happy birthday to him. Jack Tyler then coming through the final few corners through sector 3 then. He looks to be riding this car very aggressively there, almost losing it at multiple areas. And well, I sent him to pole, and that looked quite scruffy through the exit there. He was really on rails though. How he kept that car on the track like that was quite impressive. I was expecting him to slightly lose a lot of time, but he's currently at the top spot, so well done to him. Riker has just come into the pits, so he's not going to be setting an official time. Vitinho then, the runner-up in F10 last season. Let's see what he can do. Braking rather late, and Marion sets the new fastest lap then, a 0.6 then, beating out Jack Tyler's 0.7. What about Vitinho? It's a 25-1. It was a bit, that was a bit too much, because he didn't exactly set the timing screens alight in the end like I thought he did. But James Dovey right now, he's 1/10 up. This is one of your contenders potentially for pole position today. He goes into Stowe, probably could have taken a little bit more speed off the exit there, breaking down though into the final section of the track. 2 more corners yet to navigate, 1 more to go, and he's got a little bit of wheel spin off the exit. That's probably not helped his lap, but he's got very, very close to 2nd place and potentially pole position in a future lap time. So a very good lap there from James Dovey. We have got 5 minutes to go then, so most of these guys will be looking about setting up for their final lap tonight. Special is on a lap, so just stick with him for now, but there's not much going on in this lap, it don't look like. Through sector 2 though, I'm waiting to see what the split says. Well, it's not going to say anything very decent if he's doing that, and I think he's already backed out of his lap, so we've got no one on a lap right now. I think Davey W is, however. He's just gone on to one, so thank you to that, Davey. But interestingly, both Williams up there, 4th and 5th. That's a brilliant show for both of them. And hopefully they can stick around, because Williams seem to be quite dark horses this season. Obviously, Dende winning last week, and Davey W seeming to be quite quick as well on his day. But right now in 4th and 5th, they'll be very happy about where both cars are sitting. Ryan, of course, being a reserve and in pole position, he's in the driving seat at the moment to take the pole position, but that can obviously all change as Dende's on a lap as well. Davey W's on a lap. Many people are going to be coming through, and now through Mackets and Beckett, Davey W squeezing the most potential out of that car, making sure he's raking through the corners, making the most of it. He's up on his time. Is that enough though to be contending with the top 4? I don't know. He's got to make up a fair bit of time through here. Has he gone wide? No, he's fine, but he's peeled into the pits anyway. Does suggest to me that perhaps he's going to go and put on a fresh set of tyres and go for one more run. Hersey, where is he right now? He is coming through sector 2. This is turn 6 and 7. Brooklands and Luffield, of course. I finally got the names as well. Woodcote for this corner, and obviously Cops, everyone knows. Anyway, enough about names of corners, which I didn't have to struggle last week. I had to struggle this week. Everyone knows this section anyway. Hersey, though, coming through Maggots and Beckett's end, and similar to Davey W, just raking the car through, looking for the most potential possible. And you know what? He's exploiting it very well. 3.5 tenths up through sector 2, coming through sector 3 now. Can he keep that momentum up? Can he go even faster here? Hersey coming through to the final few corners here, braking marginally late. Has he made the corner? Yes, he has. Nice and easy. One more corner to go. Get a good exit. Nice on the throttle. Nice and easy. Has he got pole position? Currently, right now, yes, he has. Brilliant lap there from Hersey. And that's actually a brilliant lap as well, I must say. A 0.5, just about dipping in to the 0.5s. However, we're still waiting till the end. Black Phoenix just 3 tenths up through the first sector. That's very interesting to see. 3 tenths up for the first sector. Not particularly a lot of time you could really make there. There's not too many corners. So good start for CPI Black Phoenix. Can he prevail on pole position here? How's his sector 2 looking? Using all the track available to him. This looks like a very good lap. He's lost a lot of time though in that sector 2, I must say. And right now he's now gone right back to challenging perhaps for the top 6. He's not going to fuss too much. He's invalidated. He'll have to go again then, and I wonder if he's got enough fuel to go again. Kieran then in 8th place. He is down at the moment. I'm assuming this is probably not an actual proper lap, but we'll just stick on board. He seems to be still going at full speed. He's drained a lot of ERS, I must say. I don't understand how he's down to 30 already. Must have accidentally left it on in his outlap. Anyway, he comes through sector 2 right now, looking good. Maggots and Beckett's looks decent, but he's down by 1.5 seconds, so he definitely will be looking to go again. It looks like Vitinho then. He's just started a lap. Let's try and find someone who's perhaps looking more towards the end of their lap. Perhaps Dave at the moment, or is it Yigamau? Yigamau is the latest, and he will be the next one to finish a lap. I'll just keep that in mind, of course. A lot of the front runners are still waiting. Kieran's retired in the pits. He knows he can't set another lap. Yigamau, that's probably not a lap time he would have wanted. So that's obviously not an official lap time. 3 minutes. I don't know what he's been doing for 3 minutes around the circuit. And neither do I know what Dave's been doing for 2 minutes around the circuit. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is just some sort of glitch or something, but a lot of drivers seem to be definitely taking their time around the circuits. Track Formula then in 18th place, still yet to set a time. I'm still just keeping an eye on everyone. I think it's Vitinho who'll be next across the line. Where is Vitinho? And oh, I've caught Track Formula out right there, and it is Vitinho. Vitinho is up, so let's just track him through these corners. Getting on the throttle a bit early there, but he won't mind because look as he comes across the line in 6th place. Not too much of an improvement. Again, Davey is up. Unfortunately, Track Formula seems to be at the back of this grid. He is in a bit of a rush to get here. There is another Ferrari coming. That's his teammate Alpha. Alpha's gone 12th. We have Special coming towards the line now. It doesn't look like it's going to be a particularly great lap. Maybe an improvement, though, for Special. It is an improvement, and it's up to 13th for him. James Dovey is next across the line. There he goes, 2nd place. Very close to taking pole position. Yigamau has now set a lap. Doogie Afroman as well. Here comes the two Alpha Tauris. Jack Tyler, as he comes across the line, he's got pole position at the moment. Where is Marion? Marion is up. In fact, he's down by a small amount. It looks like Dende's out of it, and everyone else is, so it's all down to Marion then. Has he got pole position? Has he done enough to defeat Jack Tyler? Jack Tyler's going to be on the front row. Is he going to be on the top spot? No, he's not. Marion takes pole position then here in F10 for the 2nd race of the season, and I tell you what, he's looking very racy for this race again. It looks good for the Renault team, but he's not a part of the Renault team, remember. He is a reserve for this week. So he is looking quite strong in the future for a championship battle. And that's interesting. Special going into the back. But here is your pole sitter for race 2 then, Marion, and he's saying in the chat, vamos, vamos, vamos. I'm assuming you're a Carlos Sainz fan and Max Verstappen fan for all that matter, because, you know, if you're Dutch, you're going to be a Max Verstappen fan, but, you know, it makes sense, doesn't it? Really, I need to watch myself. I want everyone barricading me in a corner, but, yeah, pole position for Marion today then. And he is a reserve at the moment. Debates on whether he will get moved up or not. Who knows? But it's a good show from the reserve. He is on pole position then with a 24.5. Tyler in second. Hersey in third place. James Dovey, who was originally in second place, he's moved down to fourth, but he did improve his time. Dende in fifth, last week's race winner. Vitinho sixth. Yigamau seventh. Davey W eighth. Rika ninth. And Kieran makes up the top 10. And outside of that top 10, here is everyone you need to see. And again, Red Bull's not qualifying too confidently with Black Phoenix in 12th and Dino in 15th though. But I do reckon that is going to be very close. I think Lewis just had that pretty good. Top 4, less than a 10th. Things you love to see. Well, I can tell you now, it looks like we're going to have a pretty juicy season. And this is the good thing about PSGL. You've got 11 tiers here, and in pretty much all of them, there is such a tight competition. Literally. And it's raining fairly heavily for the race. I was expecting a little bit of rain, saying wet at the start of the race, but yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be quite heavy here in Silverstone, and this is going to be quite interesting to see because in the dry conditions we've got a theoretical idea of what the pace is like. However, we don't know. Some drivers in that midfield could have decided to run a wet setup, and obviously it says wet at the start of the race, so it looks like towards the finish we will have dry conditions. But, I mean, who knows? We could have a wet race until around lap 20 something, making it extremely beneficial for those who are on to a wet setup, of course. But we'll just have to wait, and James Sovey does confirm wet till halfway, so that can mean around, I would say, probably around lap 15 or something. The math is obviously terrible, but, you know, bear with me. It'd be lap 13, halfway point would. So we are expecting around lap 10 to lap 16 for the rain to stop. Whether we'll get onto dries that early, who knows. Looking at the tyres, everyone's gone intermediate, so it's not as bad as it looks, really. It looks like probably proper wet conditions, but, I mean, we'll have to wait. And like I said, we've seen the dry pace of these drivers. The wet pace, we haven't seen too much of. And interestingly, it'll be Marion who will lead from the start. And Jack Tyler, obviously, someone who looked very promising last week in the rain, made up a lot of positions, looked promising in the race. Didn't look so promising in quali, of course. He now starts on the front row. And I think he'll be now keeping his eye upon the best result he can today, which would obviously be the top spot on the podium. But yeah, a brilliant start to the season for the F5 champion from a few seasons back, as he obviously returns to PSGL this year. But Marion coming through Maggots and Beckett's as we wait for the formation lap. Let's just talk about some of the drivers' standings from the first round. Well, obviously just recapping, of course, Dende winning. He's in 5th place, so an interesting position for him. And then the top 2 are 2nd and 3rd in the Drivers' Championship in Marion and Jack Tyler. James Dovey starts 4th. He finished 4th last week. Is he going to do the same again? No Warren Haag F1 this week, which is a shame. He looked to be quite confident from the first 2 races, 2 top 5 positions. And then Riker, Black Phoenix, Poggle, Dino and Yigamol also scored some good points. But as we just wait to line up, then we'll get this race underway. Technically the best driver who was in this division last year was Vitinho. He did not show last week, so this is our first impressions from the closest to the F10 championship last season. And Brandon Harrison says, "Come on, special, my darling." Okay. Well, someone's obviously a true fan of Special, who's down in 16th at the moment. Alpha and Gerber will have to struggle with cold tyres as we just wait for the lights then. Everyone is now prepared. Are the lights going to be prepared for us? And they're going to come any second now, unless... Yes, here they come then. 5 red lights are on. And we get underway for this race. A very slow getaway from everyone. Has Marion keep defending? Has he defended well from Jack Tyler? He has. Hersey could be into second place for the first corner. Squeezes him out though, Jack Tyler. Make sure he doesn't get through. Marion gets a beautiful start away. He's got well away from Jack Tyler. And Jack Tyler was probably put off a little bit by the Haas behind. Look at the 2 McLarens there. Sending it down the inside. That's Vitinho on James Dovey. The 2 teammates need to just be careful here. They're fighting as a team, not just as drivers. Kieran looking for a move on Vitinho. Someone said about Kieran being good in the wet conditions. Well, this is a good start. He's up to 6th from 10th place. Dende down to 8th. Oh, he's now up to 7th. So Kieran up to 5th actually. He's battling with Vitinho at the moment as he slots back in to 6th place. Dende in 7th place. Davey in 8th. Black Phoenix gets a good start into 9th place as well. So a very good start from some, not a good start for others. Marion, a beautiful start compared to Jack Tyler, who's already out of a second then. Obviously no DRS no matter what happens, but I'm sure Jack Tyler would be furious from that start because Marion got it all right. It looked like he was on the back foot. So a good start to the race for Marion, who leads the way. James Dovey falling slightly back. Is Vitinho going to try and challenge? No, he's not. Stiggy might try and challenge, though. He's right on the rear end of Black Phoenix. Is he going to try and get back past Black Phoenix? I'm assuming that Black Phoenix overtook him earlier in the lap. Looking to try and save the car, but Stiggy's just keeping it there. Little bit of a lock-up, but it's fine. Special's got a good start as well. He's battling with Dino. Dino almost going into the back of Doogie Aframan. Has that cost him a position? No, it hasn't. Special maybe a little bit under pressure from Rika, who seemed to go on back a few miles. And here we go. You know, they still haven't fixed this. It's quite annoying, to be honest. Because now I'm still thinking who's leading the race. It is still Marion. It does say Hersey, but it's not Hersey. It is Marion leading the way. What about Alpha? Alpha's further back in 7th. Marion, obviously, not in 8th right now. Neither is Jack Tyler, not in 9th. It looks like it's going to fix itself right now. And look who's trying to move up back a position to what would be 5th place once it fixes itself. Kieran looking to overtake Vitinho. Vitinho is doing a really good job in that McLaren, keeping the car ahead of Kieran's. Kieran, though, is looking fairly racy in this race, I must say. And once again, just not enough straight there. He looks fairly quick on the straights as well. So if he prepares himself up here, it looks to be a good opportunity for the Haas driver. Kieran in 6th, Vitinho in 5th position then. At the moment, Vitinho's fell back a lot and he's struggling really, but Kieran again falling back quite a fair bit. He's using a bit of his overtake there to try and close that gap again, get himself ready for a move at a later time. Black Phoenix looking fairly close, but not close enough. Alpha could be an interesting one. It said he was close. He doesn't look close at all, though. Yiga Mountain. Oh no, there's a spinner. That is actually Alpha's teammate Track Formula, who's already spun already in qualifying. He moves to the back of the grid. It's been a dismal start for the Ferrari team then today. Both at the back of the grid, and Track Formula goes even further back after spinning. Hersey now trying to put a little bit of pressure under on Jack Tyler. He looks to be much quicker than the Alpha Tauri at the moment, who seems to just be struggling in the wet conditions. Let's get the overtakes. Everyone obviously pretty much on full. That's no surprise, since obviously they're going to be using the brakes a little more often in these wet conditions. First penalty of the day then. Poggle, lap 3. That is insanely early to get a penalty, I must say. But, you know, sometimes people can get them early and then end up winning the race. Why not? By being a bit more cautious and being a bit more aware of their situation. But Black Phoenix in 10th place right now. He's fallen back a little bit. Let's look at the positions gained. He actually started P10. I swear he was P12, if I'm correct. I thought he was P12, but apparently he started P10. Dino's got a penalty. He's moved up 2 positions as well The best gainer though would be Special and Yigamau at the moment. 3 overtakes they've made on cars. Kieran has fallen a lot back on Vitinho now. He looked to be pressurising a lot. He might be in trouble from Dende. And Jack Tyler may be in trouble from the Haz, who's on his inside here. Has he got the move done? Hersey up to second. Jack Tyler down to third then. This is only helping Marion get away. 2.4 seconds clear now. So it looks like Marion is in a fairly good position in the future. A lot of gaps seem to be forming, but again, this is only the wet conditions. Once we get on the dry conditions, it could be a little bit different. Then Kieran now defending from Dende, so he had all that attack on Vitinho. It's kind of gone down the drain. So poor for Kieran. He's used a lot more tyres, it looks like, and Dende taking a bit of a different approach to his line, trying to get the best out of the exit then. And Kieran is now the lead car of what seems to be a suspected train. Something we all love to see, and something that Stiggy was thinking about was an overtaking move, but obviously not close enough. And I tell you what, Jack Tyler has lost a lot of time again. He's almost a second out of Hersey now, so a lot of time gaps. And I tell you what's going to be interesting, really, is the pit stop phase. Obviously, we're going to go over to dries by the sound of it, but I mean, interestingly, we're going to go over to dries, but the pit lane at this track is so long. I believe it's just under 30 seconds, but it could actually be over 30 seconds, which obviously is not good for those drivers in these sort of conditions, because there's a lot of debate really going on. This track is also very, very long as well. Silverstone, one of the longer tracks on the calendar, of course. And lap times right now, you'd be probably looking into the late 30s, mid 40s, and Sticky gets very, very hard on the exit there, and it opens the door for Black Phoenix. Black Phoenix squeezing Sticky off the track. Sticky looking a little bit everywhere at the moment, under pressure, but he's still sticking around with Black Phoenix. Is Black Phoenix going to... Sorry, is Sticky going to charge him up the inside of turn 1? He is! Oh, that's got to be careful. Very close to banging wheels and Sticky being off the track. And he's not going to really go for much in turn 2, but very close battling. Black Phoenix moves up to 9th then. Now, Kieran is closed back in on Vitinho. Not much though. Yellow flags is set to 1. That would be Special. Special's gone right to the back. So he's at a moment. But it looks like everything seems to have calmed down at the moment. This little battle going on for 6th place may be a little interesting. Kieran having a little bit of a poor exit there. Let's look at Dende then. It looks like Kieran's got a little bit more straight line speed, but Dende is a little bit more patient. A championship leader in 7th place at the moment. The rain looks to be calming down a bit. The track seems to be a little bit more dry than what it was at the start. And of course, it probably would favour these drivers a lot more than the start. And this is where you probably will start to see drivers performing at a much more confident level. Kieran could be under pressure here from Dende. Doesn't look like it, but Dende is closing very slowly. But at the moment, just not enough. And the yellow flag is set to 2 again. That is Special probably going off again. That's well interesting at the moment. So Ferrari and Racing Point will be not liking their drivers at the moment. They're both towards the back end of the field. Same with Mercedes. So we seem to be getting a bit of an opposing sort of reality here. Both Williams challenging for points. I guess the only one you could kind of see is a little bit unsurprising is the fact that the 2 McLarens are probably in a rough position where a good weekend would be. 4th and 5th, and oh, that's a little tap there from Kieran. From Dende on Kieran. Nothing too significant. In fact, that's probably hurt Dende a little bit more. Davey, though, not too close, though, and neither is the guys behind. Black Phoenix not going to be looking for a move. Stiggy braking significantly later on than Black Phoenix, but again, no move looks to be done. Looking further back, have we got Elite Dave? No, we haven't. So everyone seems to be just sitting in position right now. This could be a little bit of a change of position soon. Dende seems to be a little bit quicker than Kieran now. He seems to be a little bit more comfortable, I suppose, now that the rain has calmed down and it looks to be a little bit more drier. He's closing quite significantly on Kieran. Is he just going to wait till the straight? Of course he is. Kieran a little bit edgy on the exit. Very edgy on the exit. He's got himself a penalty. And this is now striking distance now for Dende. Is Dende the championship leader? First race winner of the season. Is he going to make the move down the inside? You bet you are. Has he gone too wide? No, he hasn't. Defends it quite well, but Kieran is still there. Kieran side by side now with the championship leader Dende. But Dende keeps the position in 6th now, and he'll be on the chase for Vitinho ahead, who's lost a significant amount of time to James Dovey. 5.4 seconds behind. We looked at qualifying, looking very, very close. The race seems to be quite full of gaps, and that's probably just down to drivers' confidence in the wet conditions. Seems to be a little bit more varied in here than it does, obviously, in the higher tiers, which you would expect. A lot of these drivers probably practice much less than the guys at the top of the mountain in F1. But it's obviously not to say that these guys aren't experienced or somewhat talented, of course. And obviously in the wet conditions, some drivers favour much better than others, and there's a lot more skill gaps when it comes to that. Black Phoenix looking fairly close to Davey W there. I think he hit his rear there, which put Davey W under a lot of pressure, but it seems to be alright. Stiggy has been very close to Black Phoenix's rear for a long time, so I wonder if he's just waiting for that mistake. That mistake may have just come. Open the door, but just not open the door enough right now. Stiggy's just going to stick behind. You can definitely tell he's probably eyeing up a move. Oh, he's got a little bit wide out of that corner. That's not helped him. And it looks like he'll have to back out for now. So no one really making moves. Someone who's making moves in terms of pace right now is this man, Hersey. So quick on these intermediates now compared to Marion. Marion was 2.4 seconds clear. There's now only a 4/10 gap. I don't know if Marion's come off the throttle or Hersey is just that quick. Jack Tyler's kind of suggests Hersey's quite quick, because Jack Tyler's fell back a lot in these conditions. 3.5 seconds here, so he'll be hoping for the dry soon, it looks like. Which is probably what we're going to get soon. But yeah, nothing too significant going on right now, but Hergy will be closing in a lot more, and let's see if he can end up winning this race potentially on his debut for the season. I think this is actually his debut in PSGL for my knowledge. Black Phoenix may be looking for a move on Davey, but Davey looks to have it covered just for now. Still looked like he wanted to go for it there. Black Phoenix maybe becoming a little bit more desperate to get the move done soon, but we've got a little bit of a trade starting to come into play. A little bit of a potential overtaking chance here if Hersey can get it right off the exit. He's done a good job so far. Marion though is just about on it, but it looks like this is going to be fairly close. Here he comes then. Hergy on the straight. Marion goes defensive then. To the outside then it'll be at Stowe. This will be a smart move if he makes it. That's a beautiful move. No contact as well. Hersey into the lead of this race. Nice and easy. And around the outside as well. That's beautiful of a move. I've just looked back at it again, and because of that I've missed this sort of battle. Look how intense this is getting now. Davey gets past Kieran. Black Phoenix was looking at getting past Kieran. Doesn't get past Kieran though. Into this corner obviously again, but Sticky as well. He just keeps tapping the rear of Black Phoenix, so Sticky just tapping at the moment, but he'll be definitely looking to potentially get a move on if Black Phoenix can't get a move on, because Kieran is starting to become a little bit more sluggish in the guys ahead. That probably is down to his tyre wear a little bit. Here comes Black Phoenix, so he's looking towards the inside. A little bit of a split reaction there as Kieran seems to be very heavy on the car, and the Kieran's just trying to defend his position. A lot of wheel banging, but he's lost another one by doing that. He's down to 10th, Sticky up to 9th. Sticky now right on the back of Black Phoenix. Has he got enough momentum to possibly overtake the Red Bull? He looks quicker on the straights, but he's just not close enough. So it's very, very interesting. This race is starting to become a bit spicy, and I tell you what, it won't be too long till we start to see the tyres switch to dry, and at that point, again, like I said, a really long track this is. If it does dry up at a particular point at the start of the track, and not only that, oh my goodness, Stiggy almost losing the rear end. Thank God he caught that. But not only that, the pit lane here is probably the longest of the entire season. So really interesting. Kieran's struggling like loads right now. He's fallen back another position to Doogie Aframan, who's going to overtake him, it looks like. But Kieran just struggling on those inters now, and I wonder if that's because of tyre wear a little bit. I don't know what it is really. Yeah, interesting. But look at Hersey. Look how quick he is. 3 seconds clear of Marion already. If I am correct, he overtook the Renault only 2 laps ago. That is incredible pace there from the Haas. I don't know where he's found this pace. In the dry, it did look so significant. It looked like he was decent, but in the race, on these intermediate tyres anyway, he looks so confident compared to the others. And I don't know, he's just completely bolted away, and he's just continuing to do so. So Hersey right now in a beautiful position in his first race to take the first win of the season for him. Stiggy in 9th place. He's still battling with Black Phoenix, and these three have been battling for quite a while now. And Lewis probably says something that I do agree with, actually. Yep, he saved his tyres better, really. Probably explained the pace, and that probably is actually the main point here, is because we've seen Kieran really struggle on those inters. I wonder if that does suggest the tyre wear differences in here, and some drivers perhaps are overheating their tyres a little bit due to the setups they've got, and well, who knows really. But the leader, anyway, Hersey, just super quick at the moment, and he'd be loving his position. A little bit of yellow flags at the back, but yeah, that must have been Kieran, because Kieran's fell back a hell of a lot of places now. But no one really looking racy at the moment, but we are not far away, I would say, from dry conditions. I'll give it to lap 13, lap 14, and we could be having a little bit of a crossover point. Really though, this could be somewhat interesting, because I said earlier, Hersey may be 6 seconds clear now. I know it might be to do with tyre wear or something, but that is extremely good pace, and Black Phoenix is now really struggling on those inters. He's fallen back, he's almost spun it, he spun the car sideways, really struggling on that exit. I wonder if the tyre temps is also coming into play now, as Doogie Afterman probably gets a rather unnecessary penalty there. Probably didn't need to do that, but I wonder if the tyres are heating up quite considerably now for drivers as well now, because the track doesn't look that dry. Look, there's not really any spray coming off the exit. It's still raining, and there's still a little bit of spray, but considerably. I wonder if the tyre temperatures are starting to heat up a little bit. I'm trying to look at the bottom there. I think they are reaching around 80 degrees, which is just standard for dry tyres. So I wonder if someone is going to blink. Someone is going to blink, and it's the leader who's going to blink. It is Hersey into the pit. Is Marion going to do the same? Yes, he is. Jack Tyler is as well. So this is the crossover point, ladies and gentlemen. I said about the tyre temps going up. Every driver seems to think so. So the leader's in. But he's got a considerable gap away, and I think he'll be looking very good. 3 wide into Stowe then. Surely they're not going to think about it. They are. And, well, one Merc hits into another Merc. Poggle's off the track, and, well, he's lost position there. But, wow. I think that was interesting there. And Poggle looking to go into the pits. He's hit the barrier as he's considerably changed his mind. But maybe it was a good decision. Maybe it wasn't. Vitinho stayed out in the end. So Vitinho just feeling a little bit more comfortable on those intermediates for one more lap. Not sure what I think about that. We'll just have to track Hersey's pace on the mediums. How is he doing on the medium tyres? It's going to be a slow progression. Well, this is more interesting. It's very helpful for him in some sense. Marion stuck in traffic then. He's got to get past him. He's got past one in Alpha. He's got Poggle next, and he's really putting the throttle pedal down. It looks like he's got past 2 of them already. He's got Yigamau to catch up with, who is 2 seconds ahead. He's closing considerably. Hersey is also closing considerably, but should make it to the line before he has to make any sort of move. So really, Hersey is in a brilliant position right now because Marion has been caught up with traffic. Jack Tyler is also a victim of that as well, obviously, of course. And he may actually catch up to Davey here by the end of the lap. We may actually have to see him overtake. He only has one corner really to do something. Marion gets a penalty as well, just increases that pressure that he has. Davey, be careful off the exit there. You have a leader that's obviously much quicker, and he is now in the lead of this race quite considerably. Jack Tyler looking for a move to the outside, and Marion then, but Marion just holds his ground, keeps behind. I don't know what's happened to Yigamol. He's on intermediate, so he was going to pit anyway. James Dovey then in 6th place, which will be net 5th place. I think he's running a little bit, and he's actually net 4th place. Vitinho's lost a lot of time. I believe there was not this much of a considerable gap. Dende has really improved from this end. He's up to 5th place, and he's up to 5th place by quite a fair margin. So it seems like the front runners have a little bit of a gap, except from these two. Potentially these three of these continue to battle in Marion, Jack Tyler and James Dovey. And obviously we've seen Jack Tyler and James Dovey battle quite considerably a lot last race. That's fairly entertaining, but keep it up like this, I think we will have a three-way battle for second at the moment, because the leader is just miles ahead. And looking further down the field, Black Phoenix, he's actually beat out Davey W here, so he's got the undercut. But Doogie Afroman is ahead of him. Rika's on softs. That's a rather interesting strategy. I wouldn't expect him to go to the end on those softs. He could do, though, interestingly, but he's on soft tyres. He's the only one on soft tyres, so if he can hold them off to the end, well done, I suppose, but I don't think so. There's a lot of battling going on for second place. I couldn't see anything because obviously I haven't got any sort of deltas, which is annoying. Cheers, Codemasters. But look at these three getting very racy. Look at, well, these two. James Dovey, though, could be joining the crew. Going very heavy over the bump, though, is Marion. Marion is going to look to come back at Jack Tyler. He's used all his overtakes to get by. James Dovey now getting a penalty. So all three, second, third and fourth, has a penalty there. And Marion almost did the exact same as what he did to Jack Tyler last week, but Desync perhaps said differently. Not last week, Brazil, I must say, but yeah, very, very close between them two. But Jack Tyler has the fastest lap there, so he seems to be quicker than Hersey in the dry. Has he got enough? And I don't think he does. Has he got enough pace to potentially beat out a 10-second gap to the leader, which I don't understand where his pace has come from. It was rather out of nowhere, but I don't know, do I? I don't know many of these guys in this tier and where they're looking about expectation-wise. I would assume now Jack Tyler and Marion would try and stake their claim a little bit towards the title now, with both of them in a similar position to last week. Same with James Dovey a little bit, and Dende. So we seem to have a little bit more of a storyline, a bit more of a representation of what to expect this season. Obviously, we cannot call the strings a bit too early then. Hersey now retaking that fastest lap. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see Jack Tyler do the same now. He's closing quite a bit on Hersey again, and here he comes across the line. Yep, a 28.8 there. So considerably quite quick compared to Hersey then. Jack Tyler and Track Formula and Rika are battling. I will look back at that if necessary need to. It looks like I will need to. And it looks like something's happened to them. Trap Formula's off again off the track. And he's moving down positions day by night. So I wonder if they've had a little bit of a moment there, those two. Trap Formula obviously not having a very good day. Neither is Alpha. I'll tell you who is probably going to be having a good day if he can get past the Alfa Romeo. It would be Black Phoenix at the moment in ninth place. I'm pretty sure he would be quite happy with that. Marion looking very close to Jack Tyler again. I just cannot get my eyes off this battle at the moment. Kieran perhaps looking for a move on Trap Formula as well. It will be, and Trap Formula's round again there. I'm not going to go on board since it's right at the back of the grid, and well, there's no more of a battle there, really. Here comes Ryan then, DRS open. He's now going to come back at Jack Tyler. It looks like Hersey has sorted himself out and kind of balanced it out with Jack Tyler now. So already, Hersey doesn't look like he's going to be caught at all in this race, I don't think. So, Special just getting out of the way, and he retakes the fastest lap. So he's pushing most certainly just to get that fastest lap. And a lot of 3-second time penalties are being conceded for some reason in that particular moment. Alpha, Track Formula, Gerby, all in about 5 seconds. Dende now is the fastest driver on the track at the moment. Marion, I think, took it for a split second. There's an Alfa Romeo off. That'd be Yigamau. I don't know what he's done there. I'm sure that he's probably been in an incident with someone with that one. And look at Dino. Dino looking fairly close with Elite Dave right now. No real battles going on the track except for potentially second place very soon. We'll keep back to that at the moment though. We'll stick with this one. Track Formula into the pits. He's retired. I'm not surprised really. I think Kieran may think about doing the same. There we go. He's retired out of the race. I'm not surprised for them too. They've had a bit of a dismal day. Poor Kieran. Could have gone so much different, but he had good pace at the start of his intermediate stint, but it fell away very, very quickly. So, looking back then, Elite Dave in 13th place. He's looking to close in on Dino, but he's not close enough for any sort of move. Neither is Marion. Surprisingly, has he made a little bit of a mistake? I was expecting him to be closer at this point to Jack Tyler, but he probably has made a little bit of a mistake. Hersey right now again on the pace. So Hersey's setup must be extremely good for tyre saving or something, because he's now quicker than these guys behind them. Even though it looked like the trend was that Hersey would be slower. So I don't really exactly know what on earth is on Hersey's setup, but he looks incredible in the race. 10-second gap is not what you see too often, especially with a grid which had the top 4 separated. He didn't even get pole, but the top 4 separated by less than a tenth. So 10 seconds seems to be quite considerable. So it's either his wet pace has got him along the road, or he's just insanely quick in the race trim, or a top tyre saver. I wouldn't have thought these mediums would be anywhere near going off at the moment, so I'm going to say that it's more just down to general race pace he has, which is quite incredible. But Ryan looking at a move on Jack Tyler, but he's just a little bit more flaky on the exit there. I'm going to use the word flaky, probably not the best word to use, but I suppose under pressure really, trying to make the move back into second place, probably take the lead of the championship this would, for Marion. Jack Tyler probably fighting with that as well. Those two I believe would be on the same exact points if it was to finish like this, so I think them two would be leading together. I think it'll be 3 drivers on 22 points, because I think Dende would be on 22 points as well. So this is a rather interesting one. James Dovey looking for a good 4th place again, maybe a podium. Looking at the penalties though, suggests that perhaps he just needs to get a little bit of a move on. But at the moment, we could be seeing 3 drivers leading the championship all together on 22 points. And that would be Jack Tyler, Marion, and Dende, of course. Dende doesn't look like he's going to close up enough to get up to 4th place unless any significant event. James Dovey could enter the frame to get a podium with these two, and obviously penalties as well. But, well, this is very, very interesting for 2nd place right now. And Jack Tyler early on the entry, but on the exit, he's got a way better exit than Marion, and I don't think Marion's close enough again. He's just going to sit it out or wait, just probably drain Jack Tyler's ERS, though, really. I think that is now the plan for the Renault driver at the moment. James Dovey also thinking of a plan just to stick within these guys' DRS, and obviously try and keep within. And maybe, like I said, a potential podium for James Dovey, who battled so hardly in the end with Jack Tyler for one last week. Maybe we could be seeing it again. Yaframan, I think, has been overtaken by Black Phoenix, but he's looking fair close to him. No move on the agenda though, so at the moment a little bit of a saggy race at the moment, if you may say. Not really the most entertaining one at the moment, especially for the British Grand Prix. And I think the changing conditions may be a little bit of a factor to that. But at the moment, still got a battle for second. If James Dovey can put himself in a much closer position, we have a three-way battle. I would love that. But Marion at the moment looking to get the exit right, but Jack Tyler just seems to be so good on the exits compared to Marion, and Marion just cannot close in enough. Fortunately, Marion has a lot more ERS than Jack Tyler, so Jack Tyler seems to be a little bit more aggressive, thinking Marion is coming, but at the end of the day, Marion isn't actually putting too much pressure on Jack Tyler and is happy just to save all his ERS up at the moment, just keeping a little bit, putting it down a little bit here just to keep in touching distance of the AlphaTauri. Or has he seen the red flashing light and thought, yes, now is my time for the move? Jack Tyler looking a little bit more under pressure from that now. James Dovey's fallen out the second again. He seems to be quite a bit of a yes-no moment at the moment, just not close enough to potentially make himself a move up. And Marion is closing on Jack Tyler. Jack Tyler, though, not having the flashy red light like he did going through Stowe, so he's probably started saving a little bit. But Marion, look at him now, he's on 64%, so he's saved up quite a bit. He hasn't used it at all. Jägermaus sets the fastest time. He's probably gone for a really fast lap there at 27. Be looking at that for medium stints in quali almost, really. Probably a little less than a 27, of course, but for a race pace, that's a very good lap time on the mediums. But Marion at the moment, again, just not close enough to Jack Tyler. Jack Tyler just holding his ground through Maggotts and Beckett, so perhaps Marion starting to struggle a little bit off that exit there. Or again, like I said, he could be just patiently waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity to get the move done. We see Poggle, who has fallen down. He's crashed out. He's not out of the race though, but I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, it doesn't look likely that he's going to be getting points anymore in this race. Yaframan looking fairly close to Black Phoenix. Black Phoenix got a red flashing light. He's used a lot of his overtake to probably defend from the man in ninth. We've got yellow flags in sector 2 again. That's Poggle again. That's probably just overheated tyres there, which has caused him to spin. But looking at battles furthermore on the track, I think this is probably one of the closest battles on the track, if not the closest, and it's actually caused James Dovey to close in a little bit more now. So this is getting really intense for Jack Tyler. One simple mistake and that could cost him not only second place, but could cost him a podium here. He's not gone wide there, neither has Marion. Marion looking fairly close now again to Jack Tyler. Right behind him now. This is probably the closest he's been, but he's just fell back here. I wonder if he's just trying to maximise the exit. Something he's just not been good at compared to Jack Tyler. Jack Tyler looks to have a better line and once again survives any sort of attack from the Renault. James Dovey as well getting involved slightly, and I think he's had a much better exit than both of them here. But Ryan looking very close. James Dovey breaking much later. And once again, this is going to be a really interesting end to the race. 4 laps to go then. 5 laps to go. 4 laps to go, I think. This lap being the first one. Dende then sets the fastest lap. It may have been 5 laps to go. Oh, who cares? Who cares? We're going to get a battle towards the end of the race. This is all we know. Ryan, though, lagging a little bit now. He's having a little bit of inconsistencies with his internet, which is not great to see. And for Jack Tyler, probably is going to be a little bit scared at this point, seeing all that. And thinking, you know, he's going to overtake me and then he's going to lag into me and send me flying into the hills at Stowe. But, you know, who knows? He could have sorted it out. It's a little bit inconsistent at the moment, but he seems to be fine at the moment. James Dovey then, I tell you what, if he does get a podium this week, this would be quite harsh to be honest. He looks like he's had the pace. He's got the pace here. He's looking close, but just not close enough to second or third. Well, at the moment, Duke Yafferman not close enough to Black Phoenix. Ryan, he's closing in on Jack Tyler, not close enough. And again, no one particularly making moves anywhere in this battle for second place. Very close to the back there, Ryan in the end. But at the moment, we're just counting down the laps at the moment. And I think Ryan isn't in a rush. He knows he's got the advantage quite heavily on the ERS. I think James Dovey would think that as well. So Jack Tyler's putting himself in a bit of an insecure position, I would say. 76% now. He's starting to use a little bit more now, but Ryan, he knows he's got enough to use. Jack Tyler is going to start to really run out of options, really. I think Ryan, he's put himself in a comfortable position. James Dovey would have done, but I think he's had a little bit of a mistake there, maybe a bit too tight on the exit of Brooklands. Ryan looking very close now to Jack Tyler, but you know, the dirty air plays a good part in this corner, and well, it hasn't really, because Ryan's found a little bit more benefit, and this is probably the closest again he's been. Jack Tyler, I think he's looking at getting the DRS, but it's not worked. Excuse me. Apologies about that. Back to the action then. Ryan looking very close to Jack Tyler. Jack Tyler, well, he's 12 seconds behind Hershey, so I don't think he will be in it. But I think Jack Tyler looking for some tactics a little bit, trying to lose the position so he gets the DRS. I'm not sure really. He may have just made a general mistake, but he's in second place, struggling at the moment. I tell you who that has brought in, though. That's brought in James Dovey into the fight, and James Dovey probably a little more under pressure now to perform. These two have been battling all along here so far, but look at this though. Jack Tyler 11% compared to Ryan was 80%. Ryan needs to start using it to get that second place. Jack Tyler looks a bit all over the place. That's his tyres probably starting to go off as well, but Ryan knows the best position he's going to get is second place here. I don't think anyone is going to catch up to first. Obviously, unless Hersey gets a puncher, which is obviously an unlikely scenario on the medium tyres. Jack Tyler, once again, is he going to struggle through here again? No, he's not. He did last time, he didn't this time. At the moment, the RS open then for Ryan. Is this the opportunity he's going for? Full blast on the overtake to the inside. Jack Tyler doesn't defend. He's coming on Ryan though. And Ryan spun around there. And that was a rather interesting one. But Ryan into fourth place, down to fifth place now, behind possibly a championship rival of Dende. Dende would love to see that, you know. And now we have this battle again, but almost it's a certainty now James Dovey will get himself his first podium of the season that he was so unlucky not to get in the end last week. But Jack Tyler in second place. He turned in on Ryan. I don't really know what to say about that one. Very difficult. At the end of the day, the pressure is on, but he looks like he left him somewhat enough space. I'll need to look back at that. And onto the podium says, trust that to happen the second I tune in. So, yeah, that's a great show, isn't it, for you? You start tuning in and the driver gets spun around. Beautiful. You love to see it. So, you know, no bias to Jack Tyler, of course. I'll need to look back at that incident. The stewards would as well, but not particularly great there from Jack Tyler. But look at James Dovey now. Is he going to get the move done on? Is he going to get the move done on Jack Tyler? Get second place, in fact. James Dovey here, which he'd be very happy with. Ryan, obviously, arguably wouldn't be happy. Jack Tyler then Defends to the inside. James Dovey goes to the outside then. Braking rather late for Jack Tyler then. To the outside goes James Dovey though. He's not going to care. He's into second place here in this race. We're on lap 26 now. That's the leader, by the way. So we're now going to go on to lap 26 for these guys. This isn't the final lap. Do not worry. We've got one last lap of action. And you know what? It looks like Ryan, well, he would have, and James Dovey have called it brilliantly here with their ERS compared to Jack Tyler. Jack Tyler was almost out for most of it. James Dovey's going to have a lot here to use on this straight just to defend from Jack Tyler. Has he got enough, though, to finish in second place in this race? DRS open, though, for Jack Tyler. And again, it looks like James Dovey is in a fairly secure position here. Here is the guy leading, though. He's 13.8 seconds clear of this race. 14 seconds clear now. That is a brilliant first race of the season for him. He wasn't here last week, but Hersey is set to win the British Grand Prix. The Haas driver has never looked back since taking the lead. He looked like he had incredible pace from around lap 6, but before then it was a little different. But it does not matter. He's got a couple corners to navigate his car round, and hopefully he doesn't get a puncture here, but it looks like he's going to navigate it just fine. He's going to come across the line and take a brilliant, rather marvellous P1 here in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, and takes round 2 of the PSGL F10 Championship here. Hersey is the winner. James Dovey looks like he's going to finish second, with Jack Tyler in third place, but we'll have to see what the stewards say later this week. That could be a controversial one. Dende in fourth place, Marion fifth. Stiggy looks like we're coming home in sixth place. Not many penalties from people, but Stiggy in sixth. Vitinho will finish seventh. Black Phoenix in eighth place. Doogie will go to ninth, but will then go down to 10th and maybe even 11th here. So it depends on Rika's exit. He seems to have got it just right. Has he got 10th place? He has creeped himself into the points. Doogie 11th, Elite, NL Dave in 12th, Dino 13th, Alpha 14th for a pretty dismal day for the Ferraris. 15th for Yigamau, another dismal day for both Racing Points in 16th and 18th unless anything happens. Gerbit also has 18 seconds of penalty, so brilliant for him. 18 seconds. Obviously you don't want to be showing that sort of form, otherwise it's not really going to work, but he's just enjoying it really, and he's enjoying it to the line. Not going to worry too much. But here is your race winner. He's already almost around a lap of the track already, but the race winner is Hersey for today in the Haas. A brilliant result for the Haas driver. It's his first race of the season as well, and I do question whether he's going to be in this tier come next week, because that was a rather dominant performance. So as we load in, Yigamau got driver of the day. He didn't get the points, did he? So personally, I wouldn't give him driver of the day. But Ryan, obviously, understandably upset with that. Turning in now, I wonder again if Jack Tyler will get some sort of serious penalty for that. And unfortunate for Marion, really. He's looking on for a very strong result there. He did finish 5th place in the end, but I'm sure he would have preferred probably to finish in 2nd place or 3rd, just to get that championship lead going. But of course, it's not the case at the moment. We'll just have to wait and see those. So first place of today is the Estonian, who has come out of nowhere because he's not been here for the last 2 weeks. It's Hersey who wins the British Grand Prix. James Dovey finishing 2nd place after he narrowly missed out on the podium last week, so he does go to the podium this week. Jack Tyler 3rd place. Dende finishes 4th in the Williams. Marion in 5th place. Unfortunate for him, he could have got a podium today. Stiggy in 6th place. Vitinho in 7th, Davey W finishing 8th, Black Phoenix in 9th, and Rika makes out the top 10. So some good moves, obviously, from Rika to get from 30th to 10th, but also had to rely on penalties there. Here is the drivers outside the top 10 then. A pretty dismal day for Ferrari and Racing Point as well, not picking up any points whatsoever. So I believe we've only got one person in for podium interviews. No one else is here, and that is the person who finished third place today, Jack Tyler. I'm pretty sure he had a pretty entertaining race. He's looking back at the incident, I believe,
Yeah.
to see what happened. And, well, starting off with that one, what happened?
I mean, to be fair, he was lagging all over the shop, so I'm thinking I've got the move. Well, I've got the defensive, so I've come in, just turned right, and then he's down my inside. Then next thing I know, he's round. I mean, I gave him space, but I probably should have given him more. But
Oof.
Yeah. Tyler, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, calm down. PG,
yeah, bro,
remember.
what are you doing? I'm literally there, you fucking just turn into me. What the fuck are you doing?
I'm not gonna argue with you. It's just silly.
Yeah, but what are you doing? I'm literally there.
I mean, you weren't, but okay.
I was
guys,
literally with my right front.
Calm down, man.
Guys, let's just calm down for now. We can talk about this later, of course. And like I said, you've done your talking on the track and off the track. Obviously, it was probably a frustrating moment for Ryan for that. But, you know, apologies for the language. But, you know, obviously he seems to be very, very unhappy, which obviously is explainable. But at the end of the day, he will put that in the stewards. And obviously then the stewards will decide on the verdict of that one. But moving on from that, seemed to be a good qualifying for you, starting second on the front row, and obviously the race winner Hersey starting on the second row. What happened to Hersey in the race? He was just insane, wasn't he?
I originally thought he had a wet setup on. I don't know what happened, but I mean, he must have conserved very, very well, because I was just struggling, and I think Merrin was just struggling. And then straight away, and then I think, obviously I had a dry setup, because I thought he had a wet setup, but he had a dry. And then he just drove off into the distance, and no one else could catch him. I mean, fair play. I'm not really.
Yeah, well.
Complaining.
Well, obviously though, you take the championship lead for now, obviously provisionally until what happens.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if I get penalty, I get penalty. Don't I? I'll just come back stronger and see what happens. But at the end of the day, he was lagging all over the shop, and you can moan whatever, argue whatever, be a kid about it, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to argue with him. Not worth my time.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. I mean, you know, I have to agree with you that it is a little bit silly from him coming in here. And again, I do have to say apologies for any language that any of you may have seemed offended for, but, you know, I doubt many people would, but I mean, yeah, it seems to be very childish, but again, we'll see what the stewards say. Anyway, on to the man who finished second place, and he's been sitting here for a little while, James Dovey. Last week, very close to a podium. I'm sure you'd love to know that you'll be tasting champagne this week.
Yeah, I'm just happy really that it was passing Jack Tyler, because he did me last week, so it was nice to get a bit of payback this week.
Oh yeah, must have felt really
racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very close battling from all three of you, and I think midway through the race, you were kind of dwindling in and out of that second, and I think at that point you would have been thinking to yourself, like, were you thinking to yourself that perhaps you're just going to wait for them to make a little mistake or something, or get another penalty, or were you going to really go for it at the end? Because it looked like an interesting position for you, because you were just off that DRS, or just about getting in it, but you just weren't closing enough to these two, because obviously them two also were trading DRS, of course, as well. So what was really the strategy going through that dry stint?
Well, towards the start, I was catching slightly, and then, like you say, I was dipping back out. Every time I'd get within a second, I'd make a mistake somewhere silly. And I was kind of then hoping for them two to start battling, really. And I was just sitting with my ERS, hoping that they'd touch in the corner and I could apply the ERS coming out of one somewhere and try and get them on an exit. Which sort of happened, but not really.
Yeah.
It brought me closer, brought me back into it.
I'm sure you'd be happy though that you got the win, and I'm sure any of you have any sort of conversation going on. I believe Jack was going to say something, so I'm going to just let him say something.
I was just going to say, James, that I was trying to back up Merrin into you, and then hopefully you'd get him, and then we can just pull away. But obviously that you were just saving, so it's like okay.
Yeah,
I
I kept making silly mistakes, like just
Yeah.
like breaking myself in
I
like
touched- yeah.
silly corner.
I
or something.
I touched the grass a little bit on when you passed me, so I just lost all
seeing
momentum.
it. Yeah, I was just
But-
about to turn my ARS off, and I seen you
Yeah.
on the grass, and that's when I decided I was just gonna
Yeah.
go.
I mean, to be fair,
outside.
bittersweet with NJ.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, if it was anyone else, it wouldn't have been so nice.
Well, yeah, you two did a very good race and today, and a question really for both of you. Really, you've both been on the podium. Well, Jack Tyler twice on the podium. You're now on the podium for the first time, James. For both of you, is there some sort of title challenge looking to go on now, or do you just want to enjoy yourself a little bit, or just feel a bit up there, get those podiums, get potentially a few wins? What's really the
Again-
expectation?
Again, it's just more like it's the start of the season. As I said last week, obviously it's unfortunate what happened to Merringe, and obviously you can moan what he wants, stuff like that. I'm not really focused on that, but it's one of those things where at the moment I'm focused on getting the consistency of results at the moment. Obviously, getting fastest laps will help boost my points tally. Obviously, 2 third places have helped throughout. I'm sure maybe we can later on the line focus on the title challenge, but going into Belgium, I'm just hoping that I get another podium, maybe a good result from like first or second, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think I really have the pace for the top guys, to be honest. I think I'm probably like a 5th, maybe 6th place pace, and then I can just hopefully pick up pieces of others' mistakes or bad qualifiers and stuff, really.
I
As long
mean,
as I'm consistently quite close, then I'll be happy with that.
I mean, you've been consistently starting quite good on the races. Of course, I think you qualified 4th this week. I believe you qualified relatively the same place last week. So I wouldn't doubt yourself for the pace, because in the race, obviously, you closed in with the 2 leaders, which you seem to be dwindling in and out of, but you just found the pace. And well, who knows? You say that you don't have the pace, but you got a podium. You finished 4th last week. I would say that's a really good start to the season, and I guess like Jack said, consistency is fair key for obviously equal cars sort of division, because there's no sort of advantage really anyone has but themselves and what they use. So really, from both of you, congratulations for the podium. I don't have any more questions. Do you have any questions for me you want to ask, or is there no particular thing?
I mean, just GG to James. I mean, he deserved a 2nd place. I was slow as hell on the last 2 laps, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, well done for holding him up for me for a while so I can catch back up,
Yeah.
so thanks.
yeah. Well, it's good to show a little bit of sportsmanship, maybe a little bit of an interesting way of putting it out, but a little bit of sportsmanship was shown here, which is nice and good, and that's what we love to see. But yeah, congratulations again to both of you on the podium, and congratulations to Erzi on the win, who sadly is not here for us. But with that, we are going to finish off the stream here for tonight, which I have been the commentator for tonight for F10, and I will be the commentator for the rest of the season. And we will see you next week, where we'll be at the Belgian Grand Prix. Will Jack Tyler continue to get good results and get another podium, if not a first win next week? We'll just have to wait and see. It seems to be very, very difficult this season, very close. So we'll see you next week.